Hey YouTube, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, here with another electronic drum video. Today we're going to be talking about what I think are the best electronic drum sets that you could buy for under $1,000. And I'm making this video just in time for the holidays. If you want to pick up any of these drums, there's going to be links down below where you can buy any of these on this list. Anyway, I'm going to give you guys what I think are the 4 best electronic drum sets that you can get for under $1,000. Or maybe just around $1,000 with one of them. Before we get started on all of that though, do me a favor and follow me on Spotify if you're a Spotify user. I'm trying to get up to 200 followers there, and if you could follow me there, that would really help me out. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is start with the most expensive and go down to the least expensive. And right here, you can see on my list, we have $999 for the Yamaha DTX6K-X. Now, like I said, this is really pushing the limit here. Technically, it is under $1,000, but by the time you pay tax and all of that, you're going to be paying a little bit more, depending on where you live. But still, from Amazon, the shipping is free, and it's actually a really good deal. So like I said, there's going to be a link down below if you want to pick one of these up for yourself. And there's only 8 left in stock. Order soon, according to Amazon. All right, so what's the deal with the Yamaha DTX6K? Is this drum set, even though it is an entry-level set, the drum module, now I'm going to talk like you know nothing about electronic drums because I'm sure a lot of people out there watching this don't really know much about them. So I'm just going to do this video kind of for dummies, so to speak. So the module is this thingy over here. The thing that basically produces all of the sounds that the drum set can make. Now, out of all of the drum sets I'm talking about on this list, this module is without a doubt the best one available at this price range. The module that they use on this drum set is basically the same exact module Yamaha is using in their pro-level, high-end professional electronic drum kits. Now, they were able to do this by cutting back on a couple of other features. One being, as you can see here, the tom pads are all rubber. Now, this is kind of like an old school way that electronic drums, when they first came out, everything was basically rubber pads. And Yamaha is still producing drums. They're one of the only companies still producing drums with rubber pads. And I know there's a lot of people that really don't like them on the internet. You'll read a lot of bad things about rubber pads. But honestly, in my opinion, they're not as bad as people make them out to be. Neither mesh nor rubber really feels like real drums, in my opinion. And the rubber pads, yeah, they are a little bit hard and they do cause a little bit of hand fatigue. But if you're buying this as a first drum set for a child or a beginner, or, you know, even somebody that's, you know, kind of been playing for a few years, I don't think these pads are going to bother them that much. Now, the other advantage to this set is it gives you this snare pad here that, even though it is small, it's an 8-inch snare pad, or 7 or 8 inches, pretty small. But it has 3 zones, and it's Yamaha's own silicone material that is unique to Yamaha drums. Now, the silicone pads actually do feel like real drums. So the drum that you're going to be playing basically the most often, the snare drum, does have a real feel to it. So that is actually a really nice feature. And they kind of, you know, focused on the most important things on this drum set, being the module and the snare drum. And the kick drum tower, I am told, I haven't actually played it, but I'm told this kick drum tower feels really nice as well and reacts very well to the bass drum pedal. Now, you're not going to get a bass drum pedal with this set. You will get the hi-hat controller, and you'll get the module, you'll get the frame and all of the cymbals. Speaking of the cymbals, you do get a 3-zone ride cymbal with this set, which is the only one in this entire list where you get that as well. And what that means, if you're, you know, new to drums, is 3 different areas of the ride cymbal. The ride cymbal is this one over here, produce 3 different sounds. So you get a bell sound in the bell area, like on a real cymbal, and then a bow sound on the bow area, and then like an edge sound on the edge area. And this is just like, you know, what happens on a real cymbal, basically. And the more high-end electronic drum sets have these features as well. The crash cymbal is a single zone, the hi-hats are single zone, and the toms are all single zone, but the snare drum is 3-zone. So you get a rim shot sound, you get a cross stick sound, and you get a center sound on the snare drum. So this is very nice. You know, if you're looking to spend that much money, if you have $1,000 in your budget or a little over $1,000, this is the one to go for. Now, there's other options, but I really do think given the professional quality of the Yamaha DTX6K set, that I would definitely choose this one. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one on my list, which is the Roland TD-07DMK. Now, this is actually a pretty new version of the TD-07. The Roland TD-07 has been around for a few months already, or maybe even a year. But what they did here is they kind of created a new version for the holidays, just in time for the holidays, that's even cheaper than the one that they had before. The cheapest one before was $9.99, but now this one is $7.99. And the way they were able to do this is by using this drum rack that actually has been around for a little while, by Roland, that used to come on the TD1. I think it was the TD1DMK drum set that had the same type of kick drum tower here, where you can see it's kind of attached to the frame of the drum set. And the good thing about these, though, is it actually does accommodate a double bass drum pedal, as you can see right there. And this drum set has a very nice sounding module as well, although it lacks a lot of the professional features that the Yamaha has. But the sound quality is actually very good on the TD-07. It's actually very impressive. Probably equal in quality as far as the sound quality goes to the Yamaha, but it gives you a lot less options and a lot less tweakability, and a lot less features that the Yamaha module has. So it's nice as far as like, if you want to just turn it on and get good drum sounds, you're going to get that out of this drum set. You won't be able to really get in there and dial in really, really customized sounds and all that stuff. But that being said, Roland drums are known to be some of the best electronic drums on the market. They make things really well. They last, they hold their value, and most people that buy them usually really, really like them. Another thing to keep in mind is the pads on the TD-07DMK are quite small. The tom pads are only 6.5 inch, which is by far the smallest on this list. And the snare pad is an 8-inch, which is pretty standard with the rest of them. However, these tom pads are pretty darn tiny. However, they're all mesh. So if you're really looking to have a mesh kit, this one does give you that. And that does have a high quality rack, and you do get the Roland sound quality and Roland build quality with these drums. So anyway, the Roland TD-07DMK is definitely a strong choice at $7.99. And let's go ahead and move on to my third choice, which is the HXW Avatar SD61-6. Now, this drum set was actually sent to me to do a review for, and I have one on my channel. And I've been using this set every weekend for probably about 3 months now. And this is a teaching set for me. I use it in my drum studio where I teach, and every weekend I have about 15 kids all banging on this thing. And so far, it's been holding up great. And I've used it with MIDI every week, and it works really, really well. All of the pads trigger well. They're all dual zone. Every single pad on this drum set is dual zone. All the cymbal pads, all of the tom pads and the snare pad, except for the kick drum pad. But I don't know why you'd want a kick drum pad that's dual zone anyways. This is the only one on the list that offers all dual zone pads. So that is actually a really, really good bonus about this thing. And overall, I think it's a pretty good quality drum set. Now, will it last 10 years? I'm not totally sure. Probably not. Will it even last 1 year? I don't know, because I haven't had the one that I have for that long. But the first impressions of it are it's pretty nice. The module sounds surprisingly good. The module, again, is the electronic part over here that produces the sounds. Sounds surprisingly good for a drum set in this price range. However, it's very limited. It doesn't really have very many controls. You can't really customize any sounds. You're pretty much stuck with whatever sounds are in there. It does have a USB output, so if you want to control MIDI, it works really well for that. And all of the components are pretty nice. So yeah, it's a strong number 3. This one is, at the time of recording this video, is $372, and you could get a coupon here for $30 off. So that's a pretty good deal. Now, number 1 on my list, and the lowest priced one, well, actually, this is the lowest priced one, but the second lowest priced one on this list is the Alesis Nitro Mesh Special Edition Expanded version. And as you can see here, expanded means you get 1 extra tom here on the right, and then you get 1 extra cymbal. Which is really what makes this drum set stand out to me is the fact that you could get 4 toms and 2 crashes, a ride cymbal, and hi-hat, all for only $419, which is really, really good. Now, all of these drums, all the cymbals and the toms are all single zone. You do get a dual zone snare pad, but given that you get so many drums, I really don't think it matters that much that the toms are single zone and that the cymbals are single zone, because you do get a lot of stuff to hit. And if your kid is looking to, just get kind of a cool looking drum set that works pretty good. I had one of these drum sets, the Alesis Nitro Mesh, and I made plenty of videos on it. Mine wasn't the expanded version. It was just the regular version. But I think for the money, they're a great set. The module on them is very good for the money. Now, it is, the sounds they're not as good as the Roland or as good as the Yamaha, and maybe not even quite as good as the Avatar in some ways. But when you have a chance to mess around with this module, you can really tweak it to make it sound pretty darn good. Because unlike the other ones, except for the Yamaha, this module gives you a lot of options where you can actually customize every single sound in it. And it also has a lot of inputs and outputs on it. So you have stereo outputs, you have a headphone output, you have MIDI out, basically the real MIDI DIN cable output, as well as USB output. And given all of those ports and all the options you have with this module, I think it's kind of, still puts it over top of the Avatar as far as my recommendation goes. The Alesis Nitro is still a really good buy. Now, at $419, you're not going to get a drum set that has this many parts anywhere else. And the good thing about the Nitro is it comes with all the pedals. All you need basically is a seat and sticks, and you're good to go. It might even come with sticks. I think it does. I can't really remember. But, it's a really nice set. A lot of my students have this drum set. I've suggested it to several of them already, and a lot of parents have been buying it for their children, and all of them really like it. All the drums are 8-inch, and all the cymbals are 10-inch. It's very standard. It is a little bit on the small side as far as height goes. So if you have a tall teenager or something like that wants to play, then maybe this isn't the one to get. But, I'm 5'10", 5'11", somewhere around there, and I played it okay. It didn't really bother me. It was a little on the low side, but I could play it. So even if you do have a taller, teenager or something, they can still play this drum set. All right, so I just wanted to chime in real quick to talk about a couple of things that I forgot to mention in the previous video. And the first one being Bluetooth. Now, the only drum set in this list that actually has a Bluetooth connection on it is the Roland TD-07. All of the other ones have auxiliary inputs where you can plug a physical connection into them to connect a phone or an MP3 player, if anybody still has those out there, which really nobody does. So if you're looking to do a Bluetooth connection out of the box, the Roland is the only one that has one. However, that being said, it is very easy to add Bluetooth to any drum module that is on the market that has an auxiliary input. I actually created a video about this, and I'll post a link down below where you can see that for yourself. The other thing that I forgot to mention, and I always forget about this in my videos, that people don't know this, who don't know about electronic drums, is in order to hear any of these drum sets, you're going to either need headphones or an amplifier. I didn't talk about these in this video. I'm only talking about the drum sets. But I do recommend headphones if you're a parent and you're buying this for your kid, just so they don't drive you crazy by turning up the amplifier really loud. And, that's the whole purpose and the advantage of electronic drums is they're quieter and they don't really bother you so much if you have the doors closed. All you hear is a light tapping. So you will need some headphones, and with all of them, you will need a throne. And I believe that's all. Some of them, and I did talk about this in the video, some of them do come with the bass drum pedal and some of them don't. The Alesis Nitro and the Avatar both come with bass drum pedals. The Yamaha and the Roland do not. So you will need a bass drum pedal with those, and you will also need headphones and sticks and thrones for all of the drum sets that I talked about on this list. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that, and just to clear up any confusion that might be out there. All right, so that's it. Those are the 4 best drum sets you can get for under $1,000, electronic drum sets, in my opinion, in 2021. Of course, there are other ones out there, but I would try to stay away from a lot of these, kind of unknown brands that you see on Amazon. There's a lot of them out there, and if you don't really know much about electronic drums, stick to the name brands. And the real name brands on this list are the Yamaha, the Roland, and the Alesis. The Avatar I threw in there because because I have one, so I kind of, I know that this set works pretty good for the money. And if you, just want to save some money and get some decent features, it is a good one to get. However, I do still think I would recommend the Alesis Nitro over the Avatar, in the long run, because I know this drum set will last and it's built pretty well and it has a lot of options and a lot of things. If if your drummer really gets into messing with the module, they can have some fun with that, as well as be able to use the USB output and just the other features that it has that the Avatar lacks. So anyway, that's going to be all for this video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful and educational. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell icon down below. And what do you think about these drums? Do you agree with my list? And yeah. So anyway, happy shopping, happy drumming, and hope everybody has a great holiday. See you guys really soon. Later.